So today is the second part of our lesson on relations and functions. If you remember 2 days ago, our lesson involved determining if a set of ordered pairs was a function or not. And what failed that test was the situation where we had an item that was in the domain or an input or an x value that had more than one corresponding y value, range, or output. Today, what we're going to do is analyze if a graph and then if an equation is a function. So just to recall, a function is a relation in which each input has exactly one output. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is for determining if a graph is a function, we're going to utilize what's called the vertical line test. I'm going to give it a definition of the test, and then we're going to go through a couple of examples that hopefully will make some sense. So the definition is, if you can draw a vertical line that passes through more than one point of a graph, then it is not a function. So what we're looking to do is to determine if we can make the graph fail the test. Okay? So if we look at the first one is a graph of what is a conic section called a parabola. And if we were to draw any vertical line, that particular vertical line would only intersect it in one place. So, yes, it is a function. Okay. Now we look at the second graph, which is the graph of a circle. And if we were to draw a vertical line there, and all again we need to do is have it fail once, you'll see that this particular vertical line hits it in more than one place, and so no, it is not a function. Now, it doesn't matter that I can draw a vertical line that hits it in only one place. Well, that's good for that point. But then when I go to the next one, once it fails once, I'm done. Now, why does this vertical line test make sense? Well, the reason is because an x value has more than one y value. In other words, if you looked at the circle graph, the x value of 1 has a y value of 3, which is here, and that same one has a y value of -3. And as you can remember from 2 days ago, that's a set of ordered pairs, or set of ordered pair that fails that test. Okay? All right, so let's go to the second part. How can I determine if an equation is a function? Well, the first equation, if you were to make a little table of values for this, and I'm just picking 3 x values like we did the other day, you'll see that no matter what x value I put in, I'm going to get a separate and only one y value. Well, this is because this is a diagonal line. And every diagonal line is a function because it'll pass the vertical line test. Okay? I can only intersect it in one place. Now, if I make a little table here, well, if x is 1, y is 1. If x is 4, y is 2. If x is 9, y is 3. So no matter what I put in for x, I'm only going to get one answer for y. So this is also a function. Then I look at the last one. And if x is 4, well, what times itself equals 4? Well, the simple one is 2. But the one people will forget about is also negative 2. So this is not a function. So what's the distinguishing factor or characteristic that tells us an equation is not a function? Well, one way we could do it is isolate the y value and determine if you would obtain two different answers when you would substitute a value in for x. Okay? The shortcut is to determine if the y value has an even numbered exponent, most commonly 2. If it does, then that is not a function. Okay? So let's take a look. This is yes. It's a diagonal line. How do I know it's a diagonal line? The x and the y are raised to a power of 1, or there is no exponent, so it's a power of 1. This is the same thing. Yes, diagonal line. This is yes. This is going to give us a parabola like in the first page. The y is raised to an odd power. What's the odd power? 1. No, y is raised to an even power. And then lastly, yes, y is raised to an odd power. So, just quickly summarize our lesson today. We determined if the graph of a function, a graph of an equation is a function by using the vertical line test. And then we determined if an equation is a function by focusing on the exponent of the y. If the exponent of y is an even number, it's not a function. If it's odd, it is a function.